says all the scientists and technologists should work in appropriate region, specifically the rural technologies to transform Indian rural sector. Good afternoon to one and all, and it is my privilege today to welcome you all to the first Sitara seminar of this semester. Today we have in our midst Dr. Prashant Narnavar IAS, District Magistrate and Collector, Palghar District. Dr. Prashant B. Narnavar is an officer of Indian Administrative Service of 2009 batch. He is having a strong inclination for social work. He could successfully innovate and implement several administrative interventions which are not only accepted in Maharashtra but also in states like Rajasthan. He also coined and gave the concept of the word community corporate, which received wide acknowledgement. I cordially invite Dr. Prashant B. Narnavar to deliver his talk.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It is indeed a great privilege to be part of this August gathering. Today I would like to discuss with you certain initiatives and challenges at the district level program implementation. There are two case studies which I would like to discuss with you in brief. First, I would be also discussing about the district plan, because that is what a collector is a member secretary of a DPC, district plan committee, a district planning committee, and that is the agency where we can converge many of the schemes. Many of you might be knowing that all the departments are placed vertically and they run their schemes in silos. So at the district level, how we can converge to orient and come up with a particular kind of result that we want. So first we would be just discussing about the district budgeting very short, and then we would like to come up to two case studies that we have done in Usmanabad. So before joining Palghar, I was collector of Usmanabad for 3.5 years, and I would like to discuss those case studies with you. District budgeting, especially after 1992, district planning committee have become a constitutional body, and decentralized planning is what after Panchayat Raj Act came, we focused on the decentralized planning. Composition is that a guardian minister is a chairman and district collector is a member secretary, while all the elected representatives, member of parliament, all member of legislatures of that particular district are the members of it. The district plan is normally divided into two portions. One is we call as a core sector, another is a non-core sector. The core sector includes agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, water conservation, rural electrification. Those are core sectors. While the non-core sectors are infrastructure, the road and all are non-core sectors. And 60% of the budget, whenever we prepare a budget as a collector, so 60% of the budget we have to allocate compulsorily to the core sector. We can allocate more budget to core sector. Means if we feel that agriculture, animal husbandry and all those sectors need to be given more importance, so minimum is a 60%, but even we can include certain non-core expenditure to the core expenditure, but vice versa is not possible. During our budgeting, this thing, vice versa is not possible. The amount from core sector we cannot take it to the non-core sector. Then we have the parts of the budget which I would like to discuss. This is more a finance thing. Technocrats like you may not appreciate that, but just to have a look at it. So we do have a general plan, then a spatial component plan, especially for the scheduled castes. Then a tribal sub-plan for the tribal area, for tribal, because even in the core sector, there are budgetary principles that how we need to spend. So there are particular percentage we need to spend on the weaker sections, especially on the scheduled caste, and we have to make a special sub-plan for them. And then a special sub-plan for a tribal area we have to make. So that amount we do have. So whenever researchers like you come to us, you can ask fund from these sub-plans, of course. There is a district planning machinery. District collector is a person who is actually prepares a plan and presents before the DPC. It is approved. He is assisted by district planning officer, and there are other set of bureaucrats who help him out. This is all a process of planning. We need not go in that detail. There are certain limitations of our district plan also. We make a plan, but at the same time, there are other considerations, because district do have, every district in Maharashtra, we do have a big district. So every district, every taluka have their own pressure groups. That is one of the contention. There is another contention between public representatives and the bureaucrats, because the resource allocation, resources are scarce, but resource allocation, every public representative want that most of the resources should go to their particular area, their taluka, their constituency, while we have to manage the entire thing. Many times the broader vision of the district development, which is expected to be taken as per our constitutional mandate, we may not take to that level because of several narrow considerations which many times are there. Coming to our first case study. Now, this what we have discussed about the district planning is just to have an overview that how we plan, how we allocate various resources. And apart from the district plan, I must tell you, we do have certain departmental expenditures also which we need to do. For example, if I'm having a district plan, example I'm just giving, if I'm having a district plan of 500 or 600 crores, a minimum of that, we may have more than that. But if I do have a 600-700 crores a district plan, we do have certain kind of a committed expenditure, we say. Committed expenditure means we have to give certain matching grants which the central government gives, for example, 40%, then the state government have to compensate the 60% of it. So I will have to give a matching grant to the central scheme, like for example, sanitation. So is one thing which central government will have. So many of the schemes do have where we have to give a matching grant. Union government don't give us 100%, but they will give us some portion of it, and some portion the state government have to give. So that kind of constraints we have. Apart from that, there are 100% grant schemes are also there from the state governments as well as central government. Apart from this matching grant scheme. So those 100% grant schemes are over and above the district plan. So for example, my plan is of 500 crores, say 700 crores, but I may have 20 crores from one scheme, may have 100 crores from other scheme, may have, so that do not come under DPC, but that fund is with the department. If the department issues the guidelines and we do that. So therefore, why I'm explaining you, we have a district plan and we have some vertical financial channels also which come. And when we converge that to implement a particular scheme, that is what we are going to discuss today. One of the scheme is Jal Yukt Shivar Abhiyan. So Jal Yukt Shivar Abhiyan, when I was a CEO at Sangli, we started one Abhiyan called Jal Yukt Gaon Abhiyan. One of my mentors to do that was Mr. Deshmukh. He is now retired IAS, and at that time he was a divisional commissioner of Pune. So I worked with him, and when he became the Secretary of Water Resources, he gave this concept to the new government when the new government saw him, and then Jal Yukt Shivar Abhiyan, the name was changed. I must tell you that why this scheme was implemented implemented in true spirit in our district, because it was a need of the time. I was posted to Osmanabad. You know, Osmanabad is on the plateau of Deccan in the Marathwada region, where the average rainfall is 767 mm, very low rainfall. And when I joined, unfortunately, maybe because I joined, there was no rainfall for 3 years when I was there. So we faced constant drought, and the year when I was about to leave, there was a heavy rain. So you know, that was a curse also and boon also, I do not know, but we faced severe drought, and the year I joined, it was a second successive year of drought. It was very severe. Almost you can see 107 villages we were having 41 watersheds in the district, and out of that 5 were semi-critical and 2 were overexploited. And in this region, almost 105 villages came which were severely drought prone. And almost when we started this campaign, we had more than 450 tankers. Our neighboring district have to bring water through drain, Latur, last year. So we were also asked by state government that do you require tanker, this rail tankers, and we said that no, we don't require, because then we could take certain steps. So more than 450 tankers and in 1100 hamlets and villages. So that was an extent of scarcity which we faced in the last 3.5 years, and thus this program was of great importance to us. In first phase of this project, we selected 217 villages because we cannot select all the villages, funds are scarce, and though we have a district plan does not mean that we have to only spend on this. There are other considerations always. So we have to converge all the schemes from a district plan, converge some of the schemes of the water conservation department and the agriculture department, and have to make our own convergence plan for this scheme, to implement this scheme. So we have decided that there are 217 villages which are mostly drought prone. 105 villages of course are there out of that, most probably out of that. And then we have converged to several different schemes. We were having IWMP, Integrated Watershed Development Plan, we were having Mahatma Phule Bhumi Jal Sadharan Abhiyan, then we were having several different schemes of the state government and the DPC. So we converge all those schemes to collect and then for each village, 217 villages we have selected, we have made a village plan, water budgeting for the village, and then we have identified almost 19 type of works. Not all 19 type of work, but given in one village, it was 19 type of works we have identified that these 19 type of treatment should be done. From ridge to valley, of course, that's the normal process that we follow. That in situ water conservation should be done first, and then water should come, and then it should go down. That is all a technical process was followed, and each village was given one technical officer, a junior engineer, to help the villagers. And this all 217 plans were made by villagers. Now that is how, when the government works with villagers, when the government works with people, we generate lot of good faith, and then people also come up. I must tell you that for 1 year we have completed, in this 1 year in 217 villages, we have completed 20,000, more than 20,000 works of 19 types. 125 crore rupees was expenditure, which was of course very small, but 125 crore expenditure we have spent on these 217 villages. Out of that, almost 20 crore rupees was public contribution. So when we go to public, when we take them into confidence, not government give money, but I really feel that 20 crore rupees was more important. I do have one example to tell you how we bridged that partnership. We said that you hire machine and you give the charge of the machine, rent of the per day rent of the JCB machine, and then we will give you the diesel. So what these people used to do, and sometimes the driver was not there, so we have some PW drivers and irrigation drivers, we put them there. So what these villagers used to do, because they hire machines, so they know the value for their money. So the morning 6 they will come to that person's house, driver's house, and they say, chalo, we will have breakfast. So they will have breakfast. Then they know that what driver likes, so they said the driver likes non-veg, So every day or two, some villager will bring some evening dinner for him. They took care of him in such manner. And then at the end of it, when it was almost complete, the villagers in one village, they called me and said that, sir, we want to felicitate. So we want to felicitate the driver, government man. Why? Because every morning to afternoon he used to work, he used to take 3 hours rest, and again from afternoon to evening he used to work, and we all were with him. Why? Because we gave the money, no? Every day. Because if we prolong work for 2 more days, we may not have money for that 2 more days. So we want that daily is to be done. So even they had so much of connect. And when I asked the driver, when I felicitated the driver, so he said, I never got such a love and affection of people in my life. So, even the people, which we say that some of the government people, some at a lower level, they are corrupt, they are not sensitive, it is because they are not connected. So once that connect is established, then definitely we can see. This is Honorable Governor who visited our place, and we started the campaign with his hand. These are the photos how we started the campaign. We took workshop at the district level, at taluka level, and also at the village level to expand our ideas. We took into confidence public representative. That is very important to take public representative in confidence. So many times it happens that bureaucrats many times don't give that much importance to public representatives, and many times there is a fight between the bureaucrats and public representatives. You might be reading in newspapers. So our idea is that if we take into confidence public, we also need to take into confidence the public representatives. All the member of parliament, member of legislature, they were called. My minister was called, the guardian minister, and then we conducted several different inaugurations by their hand. So there were certain days that we only used to have inaugurations, that all the sarpanch will inaugurate this, because we planned almost 21,000 works. 20,000 works were already completed, 5-10 works, because feasibility and all it there. So almost then 20,000 works we have to do. So every sarpanch we will say that this day we will have almost 1,000. We are having a mass campaign, and they all are very much for this thing, because we will also tell the press. So next day a full page will be there. This sarpanch have done this sarpanch have done this MLA have done this, and they like it very much. So many times sometimes for a particular village, if you are not getting fund, this was allowed that MLA lad, that is MLA fund can also be used for Jaluk Shivar. That is also, I said, convergence of schemes. So even MLA fund was also allowed. So whenever they will say, the villagers will say, ki, sir, this is in plan, but we want that this nala also should be deepened. So are you always okay, then get a letter of your MLA. So if the MLA gives me a letter, I will do it under MLA fund. So once the MLA ring me up, you said, why you instigate people? Huh? So if everybody will ask the Jaluk Shivar only, why do we will build road? We have to build road also. Huh? For other reasons, but we have to build road also. So, all right. So many times, people used to go and they never used to come back. They said, you give letter, collector told you, the collector told that if you bring the letter, I will give one nala. Okay? One deepening of nala or one bandhara or whatever, we will give you. So, eventually under the public pressure, even after some time, even the MLAs started participating, and they said, okay, I will give you, and then they will come for inauguration. So this is how. We also have one Jalarath for public awareness, because that for entire this thing, public awareness is very important. And I must also say that these are the major schemes under which we have converged. DPC fund, apart from the DPC, IWMP, Gatiman Panlot, Mahatma Phule Bhumi Jal Sadhan Abhiyan, MJNREGS, the certain fund from Rural Development and Water Conservation Department, these all funds we converged and brought together in those 270 villages. And I must tell, by the time I left, when we started, we were almost 450 tankers, I told. When I left, there was no tanker in the district. So this was a change in almost 2 years that span we did. So this was these are the 19 type of works that I'm thinking. Dr. Rajendra Singh, you might be aware about his work called as a Waterman of India. This was the second district with whom, with him, I was working first in Sangli. In Sangli, when I was a CEO, we worked on water conservation in Agrani River Regeneration Program, which was regenerated. And I think Professor Pokra also visited once. So, here, in the second district where we are working, we had an inauguration of Jaladindi. So one campaign, we had one Rath, we got one Rath, and then we planned that that particular Rath will roam around entire 217 villages, will be inaugurated by the Sarpanch and MLA there, and then they will tell the importance of water conservation to people. And once you give mic to public representative at any point, of course they take a very good time in explaining them whether correct or wrong. But of course in this thing they did express their pleasure, and these are some of the Gram Sabhas that we visited. Along with them, some of the works we have started. Public participation, you just see before and after work, you can just see. So before how it was looking, and after it was all jungle. So after that you will have the nalas. So this is what the before and after work. This is MLA who is, these are the Gram Sabha. We also took repair of works. So along with this, we also took care that all the old structures were already created, need to be repaired. So 10% of the entire budget, especially for the DPC, we kept for rejuvenation of the old works. Because if we repair the old works in very less amount, we could conserve a lot of water. So that is one advantage, because if we go on creating new structures, we are adding burden to the state government. So rejuvenation was also the another aspect of our Jaliyukt Shivar. Was not only the valley reach to valley, but also the another aspect was crop change pattern. We were having 48,000 hectares of sugarcane in Usmanabad. And then we worked with KVK, Krishi Vigyan Kendra, and I requested Krishi Vigyan Kendra. That is how I have such a good association with academic institutions. And I must tell you that even academic institutions have great role to play in this my case study. Krishi Vigyan Kendra is governed by the agricultural universities, you might be knowing. And I requested them that can you help us in telling that what crop to grow instead of sugarcane, so that less water will be consumed and farmers will get more income. Because farmers is only concerned with income. We can't tell farmer don't grow sugarcane, become poor. They will say we are already poor, how much poor we will become then. So if we go with and tell them, they will not want to listen. So we have to come up with certain kind of scheme which will conserve less water and more income. So then Krishi Vigyan Kendra come up with a document. We gave them 50,000 rupees, not much. For a small study, we gave them 50,000 rupees, and they come up with entire good booklet, Krishi Vigyan Kendra Tulzapur, that what are the probable crops to be taken and where this probable crop. Not all these crops can be taken everywhere. So they have told that these are the areas these crops can be taken, these are the areas this crop can be taken, these are the technologies which we should employ so that less water could be conserved. And within a period of almost 7 months only, 48,000 hectares of sugarcane reduced to 25,000 hectares of sugarcane. Why? Because even environment, that drought also helped us. Had there been a rain, they will not have listened to me. So because drought was there, they were not having water to give it to their standing sugarcane crops. The sugarcane production was getting down low. So I told them that, see, in normal circumstances, sugarcane production would be like this. Now your sugarcane production is less than 50%. If you don't have water, so whatever less water you have in your well or your farm pond, you should use it for other crop. So that you will have a good yield, because that crop requires less water, and in the same water you will have a better economic proposition. Now that is what farmers feel that it is good. Now you have to talk in their language. If you talk in our own scientific language, they will never understand. So if we talk like that, they understood. And of course drought was there, so drought helped us, and 25,000 hectares we could reduce from 48,000 hectares to the 25,000 hectares. This movement we call as Beyond Sugarcane movement. And this movement was considered as one of the success stories of government of Maharashtra, when Government of Maharashtra came up with a document of their 100-day success story. So when 100-day success story was published by Government of Maharashtra, after 100 days, Honorable CM was also interviewed by one of the channel, and when he was asked about one of the successes of his government, beyond sugarcane movement, was one success story which he told. So this is one. The another thing is using micro irrigation, mulching, because we do have less water that we will conserve, but also we need to see that that conservation should be coupled with certain kind of other methods also. So micro irrigation in a great way, especially drip, mulching, sprinklers, all those micro irrigation techniques, and even the greenhouses, coming up with greenhouses, poly houses, net shed houses, so that will increase the yield, because in greenhouses, net shed houses, we give 50% subsidy to them. So 50% of the amount is spent by government on those. So we could come up with certain kind of clusters like that, and we can really help. At the same time, we also focused on groundwater recharge. It is not only this. The groundwater recharge is what we have done, and this is what told to me by one of the farmer, because for groundwater recharge, we need to see that water is stopped at particular places first. Then only it will recharge. So then we have to stop water. We have to create chain of bandharas. If the one stream is like this, we have to create bandharas or CNBs in between. So if we create so many CNBs or chain of CNBs, it will take a lot of expenditure. And how to go about. So one of the farmer told me that why you waste money in creating these bandharas? And because you create bandhara, you create problem for us. Because if the nala is like this, it is deeper. We can't go from one part to the other part, no? We have to roam around like this. So you are creating more problem for us. Why don't you leave a small patch? So our cattle will also go, and you will conserve water also. Now these are the local wisdom. And in this manner, when it struck us, what we did, chain of mud bandharas we created. What we did, for deepening of nala, we have deepened a particular portion, we left some portion. It is already naturally compressed. And wherever we feel that it can be eroded, especially when it is turning or something, force is more and it can be eroded, we did some lining, what you call pitching, yes. So that pitching is done. And sometimes the pitching is done with a gabion structure. You can also see some of this thing. So that we have done. So that saved a lot of our expenditure. So these are all, so when we focus on the local wisdom, so that saved a lot of our expenditure. And whenever the nalas are there, you see this one, yes, you might be seeing this structure. It is called a recharge shaft. So what we did, under the bed of nala, we have created a recharge shaft, a 20-meter drill we did, or a 4-rated drill, which is encased, and there is a recharge bed. So whatever water will come, it will directly go to aquifer. After filtering, there is filter bed of course. After filtering, it will go to aquifer. So wherever the strata is as such that natural flow downwards is not there because some hard strata is there, we used this kind of techniques. More than 4,000 such kind of small recharge structures, they are called as recharge shafts, were created. So you can see the kind of jungle it used to have, and then such kind of. So these are all. The another thing what we did was we took help of even the Warkari people. So you might be knowing in Maharashtra is having a great tradition of Warkari people. So we do have many Warkaris in Usmanabad. So every year and a particular day they travel all the way, in a particular month they travel all the way from Usmanabad walking. They go to Dehu in Pune because there Sant Tukaram and Dhaneshwar used to preach and all. They printed this kind of format, pamphlets by their own. Not a single money I gave them. They invested their own money. Some of them they printed the formats and then they spread all over. And then they become ambassadors. From every village they go, whenever they give whenever they will preach, they will tell that water conservation should be there. Because this is what Tukaram Maharaj said. So that really helped us to gain, because a collector can go and tell them all those things. So I tried that this could be the good campaign. Again, whatever silt we got, we could spread those silt on the barren farms, because the entire silt was highly fertile. The silt is very fertile. So if we spread it, even the fertility of soil could be increased. So you see some tractors. So these are all tractors, they are not government tractors. We told farmers that we will have JCBs, you will get your own tractors, you hire them, get that silt and spread it in your own farm. The fertility of your farm will increase. And of course everybody knows that if the silt is, so then we say that revenue department is one department who always trouble you, because whenever the silt is taken, you have to pay revenue. Silt is a minor mineral, so you have to pay royalty to collectors. So stone, steel, silt, everything is a minor mineral. So you can't take it just like that. You have to pay royalty to the government, because that property belongs to government. So I said that this is a time when government is not charging you anything. So said, is it that? So I said, yes, I am a collector, I am telling you, take. So they said, it's very good, now we will take. Because previously, if you used to take, then Tahsildar used to come and do Panchanama from where you bought this land. Tell me how much, this much royalty, pay, and fine also. So now this time, it is not. So it was all very good. At the same time, I will also tell you some kind of good stories, because whenever we did this, at village level also we got little resistance, right? Political resistance and all. One party is doing some work, and the another party opposite, a defeated Sarpanch, will not get that work done. And once I visited one village and I came to know that another Sarpanch, the Maji Sarpanch we call, the former Sarpanch came and he started complaining, he sagde bhrashtachar hoon gele ithe. Kahi nahi shuru. All that, you inquire this entire matter, I will not allow anything to be done in my village. All that kind of sort. And fortunately, where I visited, the work was done by Art of Living. There is one Art of Living, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. So Art of Living is one organization which is also which took some of the villages and they wanted to work. So they worked. So fortunately, they have requested me to come and inaugurate. At least come and inaugurate, so that that will be kind of people will be Art of Living people will feel happy when collector inaugurate. So I went there and I told Baba, government have not spent anything, to bhrashtar kaise ho? He said, nahi jhala. I said, Art of Living ne kela ka. So people are not many times aware about. And then I threatened them that if anybody will go against this program, we will abandon your village. We have selected 217 villages. The day we started work in these villages, the other villages also got envious. Why in our village you have not started? Because a lot of money will come, a lot of good work will also be done. So you select our village also. So we said we will do it in next phase, because we don't have that much money to spend on. Now we threaten them that if in this 217 villages you are not allowing us, there are other villages in line. So we will give it to them. But before abandoning your village, we will take your photo. We will have a big flex in village panchayat. We will paste your photo there. And we will say that because of this Manni or some whatever, we are abandoning your village. And thus we are abandoning. So this was Abhiyanala Virodh Kilas Gawan Dakona Chhaya Chintra. So the word spread, and then next morning our Talathi and our Gram Sevak visited that Maji Sarpanch to take their photo. He fled away. He said, I am not at home, you go. And after that, people were not very much interested to go against us, because they know that whatever we said, we'll do it. So not in a single village we can do. So sometimes we have to use our extra judicial power to get the work done. So these are the photos, you can say. Even when this research is also done by Krishi Vigyan Kendra, that once the silt is spread over the farm, whether the production increases. So you can see the root, the size is more comparative to the previous one. So the production increases, they say. These are the. We could also have certain parts of rivers we could regenerate. These are all the photos of work. This is Sharad Pawar also visited, though he was in opposition that time, but he also came, visited our sites. This is a Minister for Irrigation. This Honorable Chief Minister, he came to visit our sites. This project was also visited by the team from Rajasthan. The Irrigation Minister of Rajasthan and 4 IS officers, the team came to see our project. And then they called me and Mr. Deshmukh there in Jaipur to explain this entire project, how we carried on, what were the technicalities of what. And in 2016, 26 January 2016, Rajasthan government started similar on this line, a program called as Mukhyamantri Gram Sinchai Yojana, that was started by Rajasthan government. These are all the schemes. So this is how, in the first case study, we could do the water conservation work. And at the end of this project, I discussed with you, the result of this project was that more than 450 tankers reduced to zero. Especially, there were 100 villages where we were having constant tankers. So for at least some years, we may not require to give them any tankers. I feel this year there was a rain, but some villages where we were not treated, they had tankers. But we could successfully implement this kind of water conservation model, because this kind of water conservation model was not only limited to Nala Khulikaran and Khulikaran, deepening and widening of Nalas. It was not limited. Our prime characteristics was that we took reach to valley approach. We believe on in situ water conservation, conservation of moisture and field first through compartment bundling. Then we also worked on the forest area. When I joined, the forest area was 0.5% in Osmanabad. Then 5,500 hectares of revenue land I have given to forest department. 14 crore rupees of the district plan was given to forest department to do water conservation work and regenerate the forest there. So later on, 1.64% forest, 0.5% to 1.64% forest land was given and the treatment we followed. Groundwater recharge was another component. Saving the water using water conservation techniques like mulching and drip was another component. And changing the crop pattern, stable to the rainfall was another component. Because it converged all those components, this is one of the case studies which I wanted to discuss with you. That is how Jalip Shivar of Osmanabad was different than the others, because it was not limited just to save the water. It was much more than that. The second discussion, what time? Is there 10 or 15? So the second thing which I would like to discuss with you, there are some videos which I will be showing 5 minutes only, and then we can close down. The second is Krishi Kranti movement that we have experimented in Osmanabad. This is based on the concept of community corporates. So you know that nowadays corporates are coming to agriculture. So we say that not corporate should come to agriculture, but why not agriculturists should become corporate? And then we ran entire campaign of farmer group movement. In a period of almost 2.5 years, more than that, we could bring together 2,88,000 farmers. 14,600 farmer groups could be formed. 58 private limited companies of farmers we have formed. Parbhani Agriculture University helped us in coming up with our first seed company. Professor Venkateswara, the Vice Chancellor of Parbhani Agriculture University, he helped us. And first VRD Agro farmer producer company came up with a seed company. Today we have Osmanabad District Seed Federation coming with 16 companies like that came together to form Osmanabad District Seed Federation. So that exists today. We have 2 dal mills. We have 5 companies of milk. We have Osmanabad Goat Seed Federation. Osmanabad Goat Breeders Association. We have the Kadaknath poultry. Have you heard about Kadaknath? Black poultry. So we brought it from Jhabua, Madhya Pradesh, and there are some villages which are completely now Kadaknath villages are there, and today we have an association, a women association for that Kadaknath poultry, and if you have OLX in your this thing, you can buy Kadaknath on OLX. So our farmers now can sell our Kadaknath poultry on OLX. So I didn't tell them these all things. So I told them few things, but they did not much than what I told them. So this is what the story of in brief that what we have done. But just I could explain to do this when I told we have taken the district and taluka level workshop. And first I took time to tell my agriculture people that this is possible. So when I told them that we have to make agriculture groups, and we were having 3,33,000 farmers. Farmer means farmer khatedar we call it. In revenue department we have khatas of every farmer. So we call it khatedar. So 3.33 lakh khatedar we have, or landowners we have. So one khatedar may have one family, you can say. Maybe 5-10 family members would be there, but 3.33 lakh khatedars we had. Out of that, 2.88 lakh khatedars become the member of one or another group. So when we told them that our campaign was that 100% saturation should be there, that we have 3.33 lakh khatedar, and all the 3.33 lakh khatedar should become member of one or other agriculture group. Now that is was a so Herculean task that some of my agriculture people said that, sir, it is almost impossible, we can't do it. How can we convince? So I told them that if you can't convince, then I cannot give, because I was chairman. There also I was a chairman, here also I am a chairman of 5 important committees of agriculture and animal husbandry, which give schemes or benefits to the individual beneficiaries. So I said that I will not give any benefits to individuals, now I will give it to groups. So when I said this, they started working. To my surprise, when I visited one village, I saw one big board in the village. यानंतर कुणालाही लाभ देण्यात येणार नाही जर आपण गटाचे मेंबर नसाल. आदेशानुसार माननीय जिल्हाधिकारी. तर this आदेश I never gave. So I just translate it for those who don't follow Marathi. It is said that from henceforth no individual benefits will be given. Only the benefits will be given to groups. By order of the collector. I never gave such kind of order. When I saw and read that board, I asked my agriculture officer, when did I give such kind of order? He said, sir, if this is not written, nobody will become members. So in your speech, you better avoid this saying. After a few days, I got a call from MLA. He said, this group movement, is that something which is a new scheme? I'm not aware in the house it is the new scheme. I said, it is no scheme by government, but it is a collector scheme. So he said, individual benefit you are not going to give. I said, no, we'll give it in group. But while we did give it in group, we'll ensure that the entire group is, individual members are also benefited. Now what is this concept? The concept is, I told, that you have to make farmer groups. But what kind of farmer groups you have to make? Not in random. Farmer taking similar crop should be brought under one group. They may be adjacent, they may not be adjacent. They may be in nearby geographic area, maybe in the one village or neighboring village. For example, farmer taking jawar will be brought together. Farmer taking flowers will be brought together. Farmer taking wheat will be brought together. So we will have jawar group, we will have flour group, and then all those farmers will have soybean groups, and then all the farmers will be taking similar crop. They will be part of a group, but they will be taking crop in their individual fields. So there is no merger of field. The individual identity will be intact. So no harm to the individual identity. In group farming, many times there is a harm to why people are not much encouraged to the group farming is because their individual identity is lost. In corporate farming also, their individual identity is lost. But we say that individual identity should be there. Everybody will be doing things in their own field, but they will decide together to take one crop. One crop does not mean if he is having 5 acres of crop, he will be doing only soybean. It may be there that out of 5 acres, he will be doing 2.5 acres of soybean. So he will be, for that purpose, he will be the part of soybean group. 1 acre of flour, for that purpose, he can be the member of flour group. And remaining 1.5 acre, he will have fodder, which will be using for the milk purpose or a dairy purpose, and then he can also become the part of a dairy group. So that gives a person option, like one person can take share of any number of companies, similarly 2 or more groups also. So that is how we have designed, so that gives a lot of liberty, and the individualism was kept intact. Now what happened is, when the groups come together, they will procure together. That is an advantage. So when they procure together, 30% cost is saved. For example, if you go and ask a person 1 bag of seed, you will get at maybe whatever cost. But if you say we want 100 bag of seed, so you will be in a bargaining position. Similarly, when you sell it in the market, if you have a bulk, you have a voice. Even you can bargain with the merchant. So if one farmer go, nobody listens. But if 10 trucks go together and tell the market committees that we have 10 trucks, either you are doing it, working with us, or then we will be seeing some other option. So that will give them a bargaining power. That is what we believe a strength of the community corporates. So we call these all our community corporates because these small organizations are community corporates, because these corporate bodies, small bodies, are created by communities coming together. So that happened, and then we formed a group of soybean, we formed a group of jawar, we formed a group of flowers. I can also show you some of the videos. I'll show you some of the videos and how they work together. And in this manner, our journey started. We also gave Krishi Seva Kendra to these people. Now what are Krishi Seva Kendra? Krishi Seva Kendra are the licenses. These Kendras are the licenses for selling seeds, fertilizers and all. So till now, these all licenses were with the merchants to sell seed and all. And because these licenses with the merchant, they will come up with some combo packs. Combo packs means if you want to have this seed, purchase this seed, then you will also have to purchase this insecticide, this pesticide. So if a seed bag is of 1000 rupees, for 1000 rupees seed you want, because you want enhanced production, you end up in paying 5000 rupees, because you have to compulsorily buy these things. This is a very routine practice. You may be seeing in malls also. You want one toothbrush, but you have combo pack of 5. And you end up purchasing 5 toothbrushes because you feel that purchasing 5 toothbrushes is little, you don't require that, but you end up in purchasing. That is what the marketing strategy is. So that is very common practice. We gave these licenses. I have not decided that all the licenses of the previous merchant should be scrapped. No, let them be there. But henceforth we will give licenses only to agriculture groups and self-help groups. That we have decided. So within period of 6 months we could distribute almost 55 licenses. And see, merchant can give poor quality seed and get away with it. Farmer group cannot do. Why? Because farmer will not fight with merchant. No, he's a big man. Because tomorrow also he have to come, and many times he don't have money, so merchant give him on loan. So that is another practice. That you do not have 5,000 rupees, okay, you give me 1,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees, you give me later, but 4,000 rupees, this will be the interest. Huh? He is not going to give you. Agriculture indebtedness, what we see, and farmer suicide, what we see, and we face farmer suicide. It is having several different colors. Agriculture indebtedness does not only the indebtedness of bank or indebtedness of sahukar or whatever. There are different varieties of sahukar. That is one. So we try to empower them, and farmer group cannot say give a poor quality seed. Why? Because villagers can fight with you. Villagers can say, come and see my field. It is not germinated. So you give my money back. So that kind of risk is there. So that is what we try to do it. So this is the second. This is how we took. Initially, we took this. Then we took village level campaigns. Even at village level campaign, we had, because whenever you do such kind of mass mobilization program, you have to do some mass contact thing also. So many times administrative and bureaucrats are not very much inclined to do some mass connectivity, right? They will only sit in the one chair, accommodate plan and all that. But we have to come out, we have to talk to people. Mass mobilization programs we have to take in every village. So in more than around 2.5 years, we could arrange almost more than 3,500 meetings. So it is not in one meeting that we could do. We have to go to a village. Every village we could visit 2 to 3 times. I'll just show you how. So these are some villages that we have again here convergence plan for this. For one group, we will not give one scheme. We will give a packet of schemes to them. Because if we give one scheme, that one scheme may not help. No, it is all silo. So it is better that you identify a certain group, you identify a cluster. Because when we identified a group, then so many groups came together to become a cluster. So when we decided that this is a flower, or for example in Lohara Taluka we had a coriander cluster. So all decided, a small group decided to have coriander. And then this coriander we sold in the Nagpur market. So these all small corianders group that became a big cluster. And then we could really give lot of schemes to that cluster. So that is how it happened. So this is all about convergence of schemes that we did. These are the field level, this thing, field level training was also organized. This is what we have done. It is a Minister of Agriculture visiting. In Jarbera cluster, this is. We also organize tours for farmers. This is our first seed company. I told you that we had a seed company. The first seed company called as DRD Agro. The story of the seed company goes like this: that we were discussing the crop pattern of a district, and one of my agriculture officers said that we are having maximum crop of soybean. Maximum crop under cultivation now is soybean. So I asked him, from where do we purchase the seeds then? Do we have any? So he said, sir, we purchase from Madhya Pradesh. How much? He said 55 crore is the last year's import. So I said, can we not have our seed? Can we not produce our own seed here? So he said, sir, we can produce, but do you know how it takes to make a seed company? You know, we need to have a patent. We need to have a patented seed for breeding. No company would give their patented seed to us. So then I requested Professor Venkateswaru, Parmani Agricultural University. And I asked him that, can you help us out in this? And he said, we can very well help us out. I said, how much money you will require? Funding? He said, no funding is required. We are a government institution. So we have developed a seed. You try it on your field and we will give you free of cost. So the breeder seed we got free of cost. This is how universities, when they converge, this is how the power of union is there. So this is the first company, BRD Agro Producer Company. I'll show the success video of this company as well. Now this company have became quite big, and founders of this company took initiation in formation of Usmanabad District Seed Federation. Now this is the first seed company we had. Later on, seeing its success, not only in a social terms but economic terms, seeing its success, because previously whenever farmer was selling soybean, they were selling at 2,800 rupees, 3,200 rupees, but with the same things they are selling in form of seeds, it is 5,000 rupees to 7,000 rupees, somewhere between, depending on the gradation. So it is almost twice if they sell it as seed, they get. So this is how it happened. This is a seed company, seed processing plant. We are having clusters of silk. We could develop farmer to consumer program. Like in many nagarpalikas, we could open outlets where direct sale could be promoted by farmers. Even self-help groups were brought together, and some mini hatcheries were given to them. So 400, wherein the eggs could be converted into one-day-old chicks. So that could be the training you can see. We have given it. Similarly in dairy. And regarding the milk company, I am having a very good story to tell. Last more than 1.5 year, 2 year back, there was a big uproar in the entire Maharashtra that people in dairy industry, farmers, they don't get their due. 16 to 18 rupees per liter they are getting, and they said it is not profitable. Profitable say it is beyond sustenance also. So they came to me when I was sitting in my chamber. All the farmers came to me. One morcha came to me and said that, sir, we came here to have a morcha, and then we want to do one andolan. I said, what type of andolan? They said, we can of milk we have brought, and now all milk we are going to spill in your office. So I said, why? He said, we don't get any money. 16 rupees, 18 rupees we are getting per liter. What is this? So, we want that government should be sensitized. And they said, this is a way government will be sensitized. So I asked them, I said, can we do one thing, that are you a member of agriculture group? They said, yes, we are a member of agriculture group. An agriculture officer came and then he said that you need to be a member of group, otherwise no scheme will be given to you. So that we became a member of a group. So what your group is doing? So there's nothing much what group is doing. We are a group, but there is nothing that we are doing. Many groups are like that also. So it is not like that all the 14,000 groups I am mentioning, all are working, very frankly. Many are working, many are groups. But that is all the processes. So that we don't. So I said, why don't you package your own milk, process it and sell it? Some of the people, they didn't agree. But 2 to 3 people over there, they can say, can it happen? So I said, yes, it can happen. I immediately called one of my officers and said, I told them that make a scheme for them. When they came, we must give something. Make a scheme for them. The scheme was only very small. It was a 6 lakh rupees of unit, 10 by 10 shade. First thing which we would do in Padoli village. This is people of Padoli village. 10 by 10 room. Small processing unit, not very big. They collect milk, process it, pack it, and every morning they will go to Latur and sell it. So once that happened, I visited one of the another village called as Barul. I told them, you go to those villages and then you just see what. If you discuss, nutrition is a problem which cannot be only solved by ICDS or something. it is just a temporary measure. What I see, nutrition should be like empowering tribals so that they will have money of their own. So if you have money, empowering tribals means to develop livelihood sources. Today, in Palghar, we only take one crop, a Rabi crop, a Kharif crop we take, and that too paddy, once in a year. Rest of the time, our fields are vacant. We don't take anything. So can we have 2 or more crops? Can we link people in Palghar with markets? Can they produce such thing which can be marketed and they can get money out of it? Can we also give through animal husbandry, through poultry, certain other measures can also be implemented so that they develop their own livelihood, and when they have livelihood they need not migrate. And if they have money, the first thing which a person spends is on food and clothing. So if you have money, what is the first thing you would like to spend on? Except mobile nowadays. But the first thing you would like to spend on is on food. And so that is the long-term perspective we have. In a short-term perspective, of course, we need to strengthen our local structures, ASHA, Anganwadi Sevika, so that whatever we are giving it to them, it should go in a proper manner or a proper channel to them. So these are the 2 things which I would like to submit. One is a short-term perspective, strengthening our institution just now, but a long-term perspective is that we cannot say that one particular community will always be given something, right? They are not the people who will always be on charity. We need to empower them. They should be like us, and they should have their own income. If we could do that, that is the ultimate solution for malnutrition maybe after 10 years, because malnutrition we are facing from last 40 years. In the first child death, yes.
So just to add on, but what you talked about that has been already done on a major scale, both on NGO front and as well as government front, increasing the economic resources. But like many researchers and studies have also suggested, our fieldwork experience also tells, increasing the economical status of a family does not always result in nutritional improvement of the child. Right? Many times, especially in tribal areas, the money is spent on intoxications or other things. So, my question was basically, what is your vision or what is your plan? Do you have something like reducing malnutrition at this level in next year or something?
Yeah. So you are asking about the short-term plan. The short-term plan is already in place. What we have done is we have mapped in a district child deaths. In last 3 years, we face certain child deaths, maybe of different reasons. Malnutrition is an underlying reason. Nobody die of malnutrition, but malnutrition coupled with dehydration, malnutrition coupled with pneumonia, like nobody die of AIDS, but coupled with the disease, people die. So we have identified those pockets, especially the pockets of Mukhada, Talasari, some areas of Dahanu, some areas of this. First we need to map it. We have divided the villages, these villages into 3, the severe, moderate and the sensitive villages. And these villages, we have come up with an 11-point agenda. Malnutrition is one. One is, of course, strengthening ICDS and A&M, that is structure. Second is strengthening water supply, water quality, especially in rainy season. Most of the deaths we see, child deaths, are in the month of August, September. Last year, if we see, last year, if we see, if we map it, August and September are the, why? Because the wells, whatever are the wells, they are into the downstream. So whenever, because we have a lot of water, almost rainfall is too heavy. So whenever, because they are on the downstream, there only we can get water, of course. So what happened is all the rainwater that goes into the well. So of course TCL powder and all we give it, but in spite of that, whatever water they take the same water, and especially in these seasons when they go to the paddy fields, they take the water from the nearby streams and all. So the largest death toll last time was first of pneumonia, another is aphasia, the another reason was the dehydration. That is, so these are the major toll-taking problems we had. So we try to map it. So water is ensuring safe water is another this thing, ensuring timely supply of food grains. So yesterday, it was 7th, I suppose. 7th was yesterday. We celebrated Dhanya Mahotsav. So all the people on the same day, they will get entire district, especially in those blocks, they will get their food grains to the PDS shops. Because many times PDS shops, they don't take grains from us on time. Then there is a lot of black marketing. Then when these people go, the PDS shop owner will say, no, we don't have. So all those things come up. So these kind of 11 measures we have planned for these severe and moderate kind of villages. And then we have appointed one officer for them. This is what, for 1 year if you ask, that is what the current strategy we are working on. But we do understand that this strategy is not foolproof. This is only an intermediate measure that we are going to take. But in long term, definitely we need to see. And as you say, that malnutrition is not only related to poverty, that is absolutely correct. There is urban malnutrition. Even some people, even in IIT may be malnourished. So because it is more related with habit, what we take is more important than, and it also linked with our digestion. We also had some study done by our people that why in spite we give them a lot of mothers, especially when we give them iron tablets and all that, they are not properly digested. Means in spite the medicines are given, that medicines don't work on that. So there are other medical issues as well apart from malnutrition.
I would like to come back to the presentation.
Yeah.
This is taking us away from that. So particularly whatever you talked about, I would like to know how educational institutions, particularly higher education institutions, could be involved in all these activities so that they don't start looking for jobs outside, but they can find their jobs within the district like Osmanabad.
Absolutely. Now this is such an important question. We know that we have formed so many farmer groups, farmer producer organizations. We are producers. We require hand-holding of those people who can brand things for us, who can study the nutritional thing of our produce, can get it certified, can market it, can e-market it. So certain kind of social organizations, what you call as community corporates, can come up in this area of livelihood development, where they will share the profits with the farmers. Means here I can openly give you opportunity in my district that you can come, have your organizations established there. Will help you to establish your organization, work in a particular village, brand their produce, try to market it, share the profits. Those people, those students, professors who are involved will also be benefited, and especially now people don't have any market. They will get market, they will get voice, and you will be their voice. It is an economic proposition, also it is a good social proposition. So that is one thing which I would like to submit. The another thing is, we are coming up with so many schemes like sanitation, building toilets. One of the experiments which I have not discussed here is, can we empower the local groups to build toilets? Because we are now, building toilets is a buzzword. We are spending huge amount on building toilets. Whether we use it or not, that is another question, but we are building it. Using is another social aspect that you would like to study, whether why we are using, why not. But can that be considered as one of the good business proposition? So this is what is an area of social entrepreneurship we call. Here, if we people in this hall come up with some kind of social enterprises which will create value to the society, wherein government can invest in you there, you create value for society, and once you create value for society, whatever goods come out, let there be a fair sharing between those people in the university or students who want to come up with good startups. These are the social startup, we can say, and those people who are actually involved will be benefited. So this way we can definitely work.
Anyone else?
Try to bring more water to these crops because we want to have better yield. So how to overcome that?
Yes. See, farmer may have same crop. There is no second thought that there can be inter competition. That is what the human tendency is all about. But again, what we have seen actually is that they tend to help each other. The reason for helping each other is they think of the group production. Because if in community corporates, there is an individual benefit also how much you grow. You are also the part of a group. So when the group production increase, collectively you get benefit, because previously your crop was valuing something like 3,200, but when you sell it as group, you may get 3,500 or 3,400. That is one angle to it. At the same time, if any member of the group fail, the production of a group comes down. So when the production comes down, the other cost increases. For example, the cost of transportation. For example, saying flowers, we could not give, you might have seen the farm pond to service the poly house. It is not possible for us to give farm pond to every farmer. Schemes, limited funds. At the same time, not all farmer can afford to have farm ponds, because they also have to, government don't give 100%. So they also have to spend something. So what we do, we tell them to share that water. So when they share the water, production is more, and the number of boxes of flowers are more. Each person for transportation have to pay as per box. Per box, whatever is, they have to pay. The more number of boxes are there, each farmer will get it in a concession. So see, working together in a group, it is. And also there is a peer pressure. You have to work together. So there is a kind of a peer pressure. Peer pressure do not arises when they are not a part of a group, or they are part of a different group. Then there will be a less peer pressure. So it is agreed that there will be little competition, but when you integrate their interest together, that competition decreases. Cannot nullify altogether. Yeah, please.
So you mentioned this whole gender change. So one of the problems that we face in agriculture sector is this gap of forward linkage. So farmers can produce, they have produced, but bringing it to the market at fair price then becomes quite challenging, even with FPOs. So I would like to learn from you, so how do you make this change?
Yes. First, what we did was we tried to use the existing business. Just coming to the flower itself, these FPOs, once we formed, we were mainly producers. So initially what happened was, we have to go to merchants only. We can't create, as you rightly said, we can't create our own merchandise company just a second day, because we don't have any expertise. We were expert in production. But the only thing saved us was our huge production. So we become a huge production house, one huge production house. So we can coordinate with them. So what today we are doing is, in Usmanabad we have two big markets. One is Hyderabad, another is Delhi. So we found that we were having some problem with Hyderabad market. We had linkage with Delhi market, and in Delhi market, some of the people there in Delhi market are really professional, because they are now, they export their from Sri Lanka and Thailand. So what they do is, they take our flower, brand it on their name, they don't brand it on our name, and sell it at a higher price there. We are comfortable with whatever amount given to us. So as of now, if we talk about Jarbera, we are just producers. Now our people are thinking of branding and exporting and all, but it is not so easy.
But this connect from,
Yes.
from Osmanabad to Delhi was done by government.
Yes, initially it was done by us. Initially it was done by us. But after that, once that connect is established, nothing was done by us. These people talk to them. These people explore their all other thing. This is regarding Jarbera. But if you call them a papaya, there is another papaya cluster in Pachpimpla village. It is near Solapur. So what they did was, they come to Vashi market here in Mumbai. Our papaya comes here in Mumbai. And then one Azad Mandi is there in Delhi. So initially they used to give this truck full of papaya to the Vashi market. Eventually they started coming with the merchants, and then they developed their links here with the market. Now in Vashi market you have merchants, papaya merchants from Osmanabad. The same farmers, because it was easy here. For Jarbera it is difficult to establish. Jarbera is the elite market. No, flour cannot be purchased by, that is the elite market. So till now we could not achieve, as you said. But in papaya, we have achieved. The same people who are producers, because you know, some of the people, they always have some kind of marketing, this thing. And nowadays you can't imagine farmer is all poor, he is illiterate. It's not like that. Boys are graduates. In one of the farmer is a lecturer in engineering college. For that in Upra village, where the cluster is there. So he is a lecturer in engineering college. So the farmer boys and girls also are now educated. They also know. For example, as I told you about that poultry, no, Kadaknath poultry. So one farmer, called as his name is Bansode. So what he did was, we have given one farm to him, poultry farm to him, and that. So he came to me. He said, my poultry is now sold in OLX. How come? He thought that why not this mobile should be used, and he just started, you know, taking photos and uploading, and then writing that this Kadaknath poultry is a black poultry. It is having such hemoglobin. Nothing was scientific, though it was there, but it was not any scientific information. But he uploaded that only, and just by uploading that only, people said, "Oh, this is such a medicinal poultry. Why not to taste it?" And then he got market on online. Now that is done by a person who is a BA or something. He is a graduate. So nowadays, farmer boys and girls are not, you know, they are also educated. So we can explore a lot of possibilities.
Sir, as a head of district administration, how do you approach to solve any problem arises in district? What is your approach to solve this problem? As a head of administration.
Which problem you are talking about?
The farmers or is socio-economic?
Yeah.
Any problem?
Yes. The first thing is, I must confess that working with universities give me an element of reflection. Right? That is my benefit coming here. So when I come here, talking with IIT, when I talk to Tata Institute and other institutes, talking to students and professors, it gives me a kind of reflecting this thing. So it really helped me that whenever somebody approaches with my with any problem, I could generalize it that this kind of problem. I just told you the problem where the people came to my office and said that we are agitators and we want to spill the entire milk in your office, and this is a way we want. Had I not been connected with education institutions and had I been some other person or some years back, I would have said, how dare you do this? You know, you're talking to collector or magistrate. I put you in jail. Don't put. At first I would have called my inspector. He said, इनके पास जितना कैन है, पहले वो ले लो. Huh? You know, that is what I would have done. But because I got an opportunity to talk to several people like you, I thought that why not, you know, they have a genuine problem. They are not against me. They don't have anybody else to come approach to. They come to me. Who else they will come to? They will come to government only if they don't have any problem. So I cannot say, see, go to dairy department. So I said, okay, if you have problem, this is a solution. Can you try it? Many people didn't believe me, of course. Only people from Padoli village, 1 or 2 people, they came up with a solution. I worked with them. So I worked with them, I found out that no, this is a solution. And then we try to multiply that thing, whatever we have done. So in this way, if we can find the solution out. See, for administration, not always you require intelligent mind. Good heart is very important. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule and spending time with us. Sitara as a department is very indebted to you for your time and for your valuable talk. As a token of our appreciation, I request Professor Bakul Rao to hand over the memento to the chief guest. Thank you, sir. I also extend a special thanks to Professor Narendra Shah for helping us to communicate with the speaker. Let me also thank Professor Subodh Wagle for coordinating the event. Special thanks to all the students and faculties who have enthusiastically participated and make this event a success. Thank you.